like any situation or problem that arises with your compost, it's really how well you manage your compost piles or system is how you'll be able to limit attracting wildlife or insects or any other creatures. So first, as we talked about earlier, you always want to cover your food scraps. So immediately in your collection cart, use wood shavings or sawdust to cover your food scraps, because that will prevent flies from laying their eggs onto the food scraps initially. And then when you put them in your pile, again, be sure to cover them immediately with your carbon sources to also prevent flies from laying their eggs onto the food scraps. That will help control an infestation of flies. So, and similarly with mosquitoes, if you have leachate coming out of your pile or in the ruts, if you've got a tractor that you're using, or even a wheelbarrow, make sure you fill those ruts up so that there's not standing water, and limit any moisture coming off of your pile. By turning the pile and putting, make sure that the water is dispersed within your pile. And if you're having an issue with too much leachate coming off of your pile, flatten the pile so that the moisture goes into your pile and doesn't roll off of the pile or windrow. And there's other means that we can help you with if you are having a leachate issue, because that is, again, crucial for controlling the mosquito population. So wildlife, and including dogs, can be attracted to food scraps, obviously. So again, managing your piles so that your temperatures are up and so you have rapid decomposition is the best way to limit any odors, because that's what is going to attract food scraps, attract to your compost for any critters. So any rats or even birds are always going to smell the food scraps and your compost before even they're going to see it. So eliminating those odors is how to control and limit any wildlife coming into your piles. And it is very toxic to wildlife, so it's very important that you do that. Putting an electric fence around bins is often a good thing, because bins are not likely to reach 131 temperatures rapidly enough to get your rapid decomposition, and not to stay that high. So if you have an issue with rodents or other wildlife getting into your bins, that may be one solution, is to put an electric fence around it. Obviously, that's not practical for windrows and big piles. And again, as you see, and for this bin here, and you can do this with all wood bins as well, put wire, hard wire cloth around that. And we have bin design specifications that we can show you on those. So I think, oh, and I wanted to also address jumping worms in your compost. So that's a very bad issue, and we will address that further on in maybe a compost tea talk. But make sure that you reach your temperatures, 131 and PFRP, throughout the process, and that kills off the jumping worm eggs. And even in the Jora, if that's a system you're going to be using, it's crucial that you make sure you monitor your temperatures and get those temperatures up. And then Natasha can tell you more about potentially solarizing your piles and or your bins, because that again kills off the worms and also their cocoons. And that's very, very important to do. And I think that is it on the attracting wildlife.